I've had the ability of living outside the United States, and Americans are very short-sighted. They can't. I don't mean to cause any. I'm a huge patriot. I love my country.
Apparently not. Just saying. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but they don't. Americans sometimes lack the ability to see beyond tomorrow and what affects them directly. And we've lost the whole concept of working for a common good. And to me, this is part of it. I mean, why do people climb mountains? Why do the Wright brothers try to fly?
Right. Well, we've talked about this a lot on the show. Ergo actually points out American Idol in space, and that's kind of a big joke around Space Vidcast in general, because it's not just that space is interesting. Okay, we all think that space is interesting. Even if you don't want to go into space, there are still people who will go outside and just look up and out at it, and and all of its wonder and its beauty and all of that stuff.
It's built into our DNA. We've done it since cavemen.
Right. However, kind of along the lines of what Ben is saying about the space shuttle kind of making it commonplace in a bad way, we did sort of get used to it. It was sort of this ingrained, like, oh, there's a space shuttle going up. Oh, there's a space shuttle going up. Oh, there's a space shuttle going up. And it's gotten now to the point where major news outlets won't really necessarily, they'll cover it, but they'll cover it for about 5 minutes. And as soon as they hear go at throttle up and there isn't a big boom a la Challenger, then they switch it off.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's sort of this catch-22 of the news outlets are saying, well, people aren't interested unless somebody dies. And then people are saying, well, I would be interested if the news would cover it more. It's that kind of thing. And then there's NASA TV. NASA has its own TV channel. It's on 24/7. And they show you all kinds of really interesting, beautiful, amazing things. You can see live shots from the International Space Station. However, the entire channel is run by engineers. And engineers, God love them, they do amazing things, are boring as all get out, okay?
You guys were talking about this, last month? You guys were talking
about it all the time.
All the time.
If you are having a hard time going to sleep, do not drink NyQuil. No, don't do a sleeping aid.
Don't waste your time on that.
Tune your television to NASA TV. You'll be out in 5 minutes flat.
Easily.
And I'm a huge space advocate. I desperately try to watch NASA TV, and I cannot do it.
We rebroadcast NASA TV most of the time when we're not on. Okay?
Mostly because it's funny.
Well, it is. It is kind of funny.
I bet you. Were you guys broadcasting when that lady lost her toolbox?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And somebody was like, "Oh, you'll never believe what happened." And I was like, "Really? We need to get video of that. Really? Let's go back." And, it's kind of sad when that's the most interesting thing that's going on in space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have humans in space traveling 17,000 miles an hour above your head. You can go outside and watch them go above your head. Like, that's insanity when you really think about it, and how amazing and awesome and cool that is. And I can't probably name a single one of them that's up there right now.
The sad thing is, especially in that specific example, when you think about this, there were I believe on that EVA, there were 2 of them outside in spacesuits, designed to protect them from, basically there are inches of fabric, and if there's even one hole ripped in that fabric, that person is dead. The pressure in the suit will be released. There will be zero pressure. They will not be able to breathe, and the human body can't live in a pressureless zone. So I would say their blood would boil, but actually the skin acts as a so that's not entirely true. But the water on their tongue will begin to boil off because as you lower pressure, the boiling temperature goes up, and this is the most advanced piece of clothing humans have ever made. They're floating over your head at 17,500 miles an hour, doing work where on Earth we take it for granted. You move a screwdriver and the screw moves. In space, you move a screwdriver, you move. So that's what happens. The screw doesn't move, you do. You go around the screw. That doesn't work. So they're doing some of the most advanced, hard, complex stuff humans have ever known, building the most expensive, intense, awesome structure humans have ever built. And what do we carry? I dropped the tool bag. Well, that's going to happen. Space.
But yeah, I know, but this isn't a problem that's just been birthed out of the late 80s and 90s. This apathy regards to space travel. This started happening around, say, Apollo 12.
I totally agree, right? Yeah. I mean, you hit Apollo 11, we went to the moon, and the moment we stepped foot on moon, that's when people started saying, been there, done that.
Yep, Apollo 12, almost nobody, they lost like a good something ridiculous 80% of their viewers or something really stupid like that. And then, God forbid, I mean, thank God for Apollo 13 that everyone lived and everything, but Apollo 13 basically wasn't covered.
Not until the disaster.
Not until that.
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about? These men are trying to get to the moon, and you're not even going to cover it?
It was considered commonplace. Well,
that's ridiculous.
There's nothing commonplace about going to the moon. And by the way, there's nothing commonplace about actually going to the International Space Station. An EVA is one of the most complex things man has to do, even more so than deep-sea diving.
And scary and dangerous. And
for those who don't know, an EVA is a spacewalk. It's an extravehicular activity.
Yeah, sorry.
So the space geek in me just goes into acronym mode. But, this is really complex, hard stuff to do, and no one really watches it. And then, so what happened was we're watching this stuff and we're going, this is really cool. And so I said, well, I think we can make NASA TV better. I think we can make this interesting. So we formed Space Vidcast, and STS, I believe, 123 was the first time we started broadcasting. Mm-hmm. And I broadcast, I believe, the first one to start broadcasting NASA TV in Flash, right? Because NASA does Windows Media Player, which is great if you've got a PC and nothing else.
And you don't mind watching a box this big.
And you don't mind watching the box, that big.
Or if you do figure out a way to make it full size, it looks like crap.
Right. So we actually I only broadcast in the same resolution because I just took their Windows Media feed and turned it into Flash because I'm like, now anyone can watch, right? Linux users, Mac users, doesn't matter, right? Flash, universal format. I hate Flash, but it's universal. So great. And then later on, I'm like, hey, NASA has a high-def channel. I bet I can stream that. So we actually partnered up with a local coffee shop. They let me put because the only way you can get NASA TV HD is one of those old 8-foot dishes from the 80s, right?
Awesome.
So you can't get them on your little C-band.
C-band.
Actually, still has a mohawk on it.
It's C-band, right?
Oh, yeah, C-band. Yep. No KU band, no KA band. C-band only if you want NASA HD.
And for anybody who wants to know C-band, yes, it is one of the... Remember those big satellite dishes your grandfather used to have to get... Because he didn't want to get cable? It's one of those dishes.
Yeah, well, you can get them down to 6 feet, but ours is 8 feet because we wanted the extra signal because it snows here. And the snow will actually do a backscatter on the LNB,
right.
So...
Yeah, no.
So we got one of those.
And we got it for free because, of course, somebody was just throwing theirs out.
No one wants those things. So we got that, and we found a way to pipe that in. And now, as far as I know, we're the only source on the planet that broadcasts shuttle launches in high definition. So you can go to spacevidcast.com. Online, right? Because you can watch HD launches on HDNet or CNN. Well, CNN, you can watch like 5 minutes of it, and then they're gone.
Right.
But we'll broadcast from the moment NASA coverage starts all the way until wheels stop.
Which is hours.
No. Until wheels stop, until the end of the mission.
Right.
So we begin...
Yeah, but our HD coverage starts as soon as they have it.
Well, it continues... Right, so we're splitting hairs, but...
Well, I'm just being specific.
HD coverage continues the whole time. Whether NASA broadcasts something on the HD channel or not, it's up to NASA.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll broadcast for hours and hours and hours and hours and enhance the broadcast with us, and then we've got reporters down at Kennedy Space Center, and they'll bring in astronauts. So...
Those two guys, I can't remember the names, but I know them as those two guys.
Yes, we've got those two guys down at Kennedy Space Center.
We have a third guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so what will happen is you're watching this live high-definition stream of the space shuttle launch. You can ask your question of whatever astronaut happens to be sitting next to him right then and there. You can we bring in the weather squadron. You want to ask your question, you can ask your question of the actual people helping launch this thing, or of someone who's already been to space. And we make it live and interactive just like this with your chat room. So yeah, it's really kind of cool.
Well, and just as how's the interaction between you and NASA? Because I know there's been a little stuff happening behind the scenes, but I mean, it's like not official. Apparently, what's been going on with that? I mean, they've been very receptive to you guys. I mean, you guys got press credentials.
Some of them have been receptive, right? Others of them have not. They're a large government agency, right? So it depends on the person you talk to. Overall, we found the person that overrides everyone else and said, yes, they're going. So, NASA. No one at NASA has been bad to us or has been evil or has meant any malcontent or anything like that. What really happens is they need to weed out they don't want Joe Kidd and his father coming in as press saying, yeah, I have a website, right? And they just started a little WordPress blog and you're getting in the way of the CBSs and the CNNs of the world.
Right.
So No, they have to. So I understand that side of it. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But at the same time, they could have taken 5 minutes and looked at who we were and what